restrictions. Some of the other things that are going on in the industry right now with industrial hemp and pollination and things like that. How are you guys dealing with being in the hemp industry, for you two gentlemen, being in the hemp industry, but in the industrial hemp industry? So outdoor hemp, there's pollination conversations, whereas Keith, this might be a threat, the industrial hemp side. So maybe we can all sort of talk about it from the perspective of how you're dealing with it, balancing pursuing your business initiatives with the threat of pollination, or how you're balancing, with the white labeling, controlling the conversation or narrative with farmers from that perspective. Whoever wants to go first. We've been going in this order, so Keith, I'll let you take the lead.
Okay, I think in the industrial hemp side, when they're growing, it depends on what they're doing. If they're doing it for seed, they have to go to the pods. They have to grow it out. But in textiles and things like that, you grow the plant before and pull it before it even matures. So that wouldn't be a problem for any cannabinoid hemp grown nearby. And my resolution to that are people who are actually growing for building techniques and things like that is CANAF. If you're around cannabinoid grows and they're really fighting against you, throw out some CANAF, man. You could build with that. The tensile strength is just underneath hemp, and you can get a seed pod that has protein in it the same kind of way. It just doesn't have the cannabinoids.
Yep.
How about you?
Yeah, I think the cross-pollination is definitely a concern for the industrial hemp side, because obviously the marijuana cannabis industry has a lot more funding, money, and I could see, like in California, for example, probably a lot of lobbying to make it harder for industrial hemp growers to grow because it can mess with their crop. But like Keith said, in certain applications, like I'm only growing my plants vegetatively, unless I did take them to seed to harvest the grain. So it's less of a concern for my crop. And then some other things I think might come into play, which aren't necessarily the best, but I think some cannabis or floral growers might start turning to like triploid genetics, where you have a seedless pod, which I definitely don't want to see the hemp plant get adulterated genetically, or we get into GMO territory. But I could see that being a solution for a lot of guys who are growing outdoor. So I think it's going to be a sticky situation with them two growing together, but I think the demand will win at the end of the day, wherever in your region what the demand is. So if you're in an area where you have a lot of manufacturing for cannabinoid products, you'll see a lot of those farms. And then if you have a big industrial area, you'll see a lot more industrial farms producing those fibers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we've seen this ever since growers around here started growing hemp in 2019. There was no industrial fiber that was grown, fiber or green varieties grown here up until very recently. Still, since we started selling the seed to the farmers around here to grow it, which was only in 2022. But you had all these farmers really get a crop that got cross-pollinated, got seeds in their CBD, and everyone's pointing fingers around here. Oh, well, it was yours because yours got seeds. Well, it was from you. Well, no, what it was from was that there's a lot of ditchweed around here.
True.
I mean, this plant was grown here in abundance and was one of the primary crops grown in the mid-40s for the war. You know, you were mandated as a farmer to grow hemp for rope and for backpacks. There's still facilities just west of here that have remnants of old hemp, the evidence of hemp being processed. So you're not going to get around it. I mean, the discussion of, and I'm seeing this in other pockets of regions in the Midwest here when we go and visit, and all the CBD growers are, saying, oh, you keep that fiber out of here. Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, you're going to get cross-pollinated from a lot of this ditchweed, this native stuff that's been growing for years and years. So how do you get around that as a cannabinoid grower? Well, unfortunately, it's really got to be in more of a controlled environment, just like
every greenhouse grows, indoor grows for the smokables and things. That's the way to keep it that way.
Yeah.
The same genetics.
Yeah, exactly. And to your point, Cody, yeah, the triploids, pollen resistant strains, they will be evolved because people will still want to grow outdoors.
Yeah.
Like in Oregon in 2020, they stopped all outdoor cannabis grow. No cannabis is to be grown outdoors. So we came in there in 2020 and had all these beautiful fields opened up to us for hemp. And because all cannabis had to be grown indoors because they had so much cannabis, they were selling last year's cannabis still, and it was old, but you know, you could tell the age by the color and things, but you know, they were just selling that for so cheap they couldn't get rid of it all.
Yep.
Everybody grew it outdoors, and yeah, they stopped that. So no cannabis grows in Oregon at all outdoors. It all has to be indoor.
Yeah,
but that hemp took over after that. Yeah.
Yep, and a lot of the I've been around to a considerable amount of outdoor grows, particularly in Michigan, where they grow it way more than they do anywhere around here, at least legally. But and the most successful guys up there that are growing cannabis are in these like severely wooded, dense areas that are, you know, down a dirt road where you would, you know, and they don't pollinate because of that. They're very common. So if you have that environment, that's one thing, but most people don't have that.
You can actually surround your field with canaf, and they did this back a long time ago. They would surround the field with canaf, and then a lot of the pollen couldn't be reached in and out of there. It would all stay within.
That's a cool fun fact for farmers to try to go ahead and prepare for, you know, what inevitably may be a field right down the road.